All right, we are almost live. I'm just waiting for the YouTube preview to show. That way I know we are going live. And then, yeah, we are live for sure now.
Do you want to start or do you want me to introduce it?
You should start, Laurel, because it's, the
Perfect.
FreeCodeCamp Learn to Code session.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Learn to Code Free Code Camp with the Laural Wheeler Foundation and Taylor Arndt and Michael Doyce from Techopolis. Jeff Bishop is also here from BITS. This is an awesome, for those who are just joining for the first time, we do this every single Tuesday morning. This is an awesome event here from 10 a.m. Central Time to noon every Tuesday. It's Learn to Code, either via Zoom if you've registered or through Taylor Arndt's YouTube channel. I'm your, main host and facilitator, Laural Wheeler, the executive director and founder of the Laural Wheeler Foundation. If you don't know who we are, we have been in operation since 2017, and we provide technology, training, resources, and opportunities to the blind and visually impaired worldwide. You can go check our website out at laurelwheelerfoundation.org. My name is spelled LaurelWheeler. You can also email us at laurelwheelerfoundation@gmail.com. So without any further ado, I will toss it over to our fearless leader, Taylor, who does a great job wonderfully hosting every Tuesday and helping teach, because I am not a coding expert. I am simply a facilitator, and we're super excited to do another one of these today. So welcome everybody, and take it away, Taylor.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Learn to Code session. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a help session. So if you recall, the past few weeks we've been doing specific topics, which are great. However, every once in a while, we want to do a FreeCodeCamp help session so the students and, well, you watching out there can improve your coding ability with FreeCodeCamp. And so we're going to take questions about, challenges that you have with the FreeCodeCamp, or if you're stuck on something, let me know. And of course, let everybody in the meeting, you could just unmute. We also have Michael Doyce here. Michael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Michael Doyce. I am the owner of Techopolis, and I helped do the lesson on shortcuts last week. That was a fantastic talk, and we went through a lot of content on using the Shortcuts app, and I hope everybody found that useful. And I will be around to answer questions today where possible.
All right. Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Jeff Bishop. I'm president of Blind Information Technology Specialists, and been coding for, oh my gosh, probably too long. But here to also lend a hand, and I have a meeting at 8:30, but we'll be here as long as I can be, and then we'll come back. So
That's totally fine.
yep, but glad to be here.
Awesome. And if you all, and the other thing is too, since we're on YouTube, if you're, still in the meeting, but if you can watch in the background another device if you wanted to do that, depending on if you're meeting. But that's just another option for people. So we are streaming on my YouTube channel. So you may get a disclaimer saying we are live streaming. So if you cannot unmute, or if that is difficult, that's why, because we're live streaming and you have to accept the dialogue and do. But yeah, that is a little bit of housekeeping there. So we're just going to answer questions about people's challenges in FreeCodeCamp. I do hear JAWS. Just want to make sure, it is coming a little loud in the background, but it's not horrible. I just want to make sure for the YouTube that the audio is clear. So yeah, does anybody have any questions about the FreeCodeCamp challenges? And I'm going to temporarily go on mute so I can promote this really fast. So. Let's see.
How is everybody doing? Maybe that's a good place to start seeing where everybody is at.
I know Jackie posted some questions in the WhatsApp. I
Yeah,
just haven't
Jackie's
had a chance to
killing
get
it.
to them.
Jacquie's just doing
Yeah,
awesome. Is she
you
on
are,
this
Jackie.
call?
I am
Yeah.
on, and
You want
that
to talk? You
is
want to talk to the YouTube's audience and to people about where you are and exactly how much progress you've made? Because I remember when you were with us in week 1 in January, and you started out from the very beginning, the free cat photo app. You want to talk about how far you've come? Because it's shocking even to me. Like, I am so dadgum proud of you. It's not even funny. Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
I guess one of my biggest issues, and this goes out to the people here who probably have a firmer grasp on what coding can do for you in your daily life and what it could solve for you as far as a business application and things like that. One of the things that I'm struggling most with is like when I first started, the free code camp courses. I understood in the HTML that, it's going to be tossing different theories and different ideas out to me, fundamentals of in order to get this result, this is what you need to happen. This is what you need to do, as far as your syntax and your coding and, this word will cause this reaction and things like that. Um, I made it through all of the HTML projects. I did lean rather heavily on AI because some of them just um, were not apparent to me. But then once I sorted in AI and I was able to go back and look at the questions that were being asked, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But it wasn't apparent in as they posed the challenges. So okay, fine. I got through all of that, made my Ferris wheel, made my little animated penguin. Um, I guess my question is like, and I understand that nobody's really doing, people use HTML in web design every day, but I think they're also using it with higher level programs like JavaScript and Python. And I just started the JavaScript algorithms, the legacy course. And as I'm going through the challenges, I mean, it's just hard because where I kind of understood the structure, the syntax of HTML, like you start with, HTML and then you give it the characters and you tell it it's in English and you make a header and then you make a div and you do this, that, the other thing. I'm not really getting that type of a flow idea with the JavaScript. Now, granted, I don't think I'm even on lesson 23 yet. So maybe it'll make more sense as I go through it because I think the first lesson is like over 100 challenges long. So maybe I just need to wait for it to all come together to make sense. Um, and in my professional life, I've worked with systems that were built in Java. Um, and I've always been kind of amazed and I've always wanted to learn how to use it so that I can check things out, kind of take a look under the hood and try to understand how things work together. Um, but at this point, I'm looking at this and like right now they're talking about like arrays, and I'm kind of like, well, what would be a real world application for an array? That's the part that has me stumped. Like right now, I
Ah,
feel like I'm just going through all of these steps and I'm not really seeing where it would be what in
so
my mind would be a real world application for a lot of this stuff. Like this seems like a lot of work and for what?
so Jackie, I can talk to that if that's okay, everybody.
That would be great.
Okay,
Go
so
go for it.
JavaScript. First off, and this is a very confusing area. Um, JavaScript is not the same as Java. They are two very, very different languages. JavaScript was originally designed to work in the browser, and Java it's a whole different ballgame. But JavaScript was originally designed to make content that we have in our browser to be more dynamic and rich. Okay. So what that means is, when you're learning to code, um, HTML, CSS, those two things are the things that make things. It's basically writing a Word document. HTML and CSS are the same as writing a Word document. JavaScript is where we take those concepts and we say, let's apply code to them and have the computer do things. So JavaScript is the programming language of the browser. Excuse me. So if you notice in HTML and CSS, we don't have things like variables. We don't have things like strings. We don't have things like uh, arrays, like you found, and we don't have commands. So the way a program works is, in the past, when you're writing HTML and all that, you're basically writing how you want your document to look. It's called markup, and it's done like that for a reason, because you're basically saying this is how I want this to look. Okay. With JavaScript, this is where you're saying this is how I want it to work. And so with JavaScript, I can do things like print out content on the screen. I can send stuff to the logs. I can change the contents of HTML. You could directly change the content of an HTML tag through JavaScript, which is really cool. And so JavaScript is the language of the browser that says, here's how you make the web page do things that HTML can't. Because back in the 90s and early 2000s, really, web pages were what we call static. They didn't change. And now that we have web pages that have JavaScript, they can have dynamic content and things that will change based on what you do. Of course, part of that is making sure it stays accessible, but um, that is how that works. Arrays are a variable type, and what they do is they make sure that or they allow you to add a list. So we can have a list of items that we can work with. So that's why you would have an array, so you can work with that group of items. So we could have a list of names. We could have a list of we could have a list of people. We could have a list of football teams. And then we can look at that list and say, like, we can say we have a list of teams, and we can reference like the first item in the list, which is item 0, would be, the first team, or item 1 would be the second team, because programming always starts with 0 instead of the number 1. And so lists are a way that we can reference several pieces of data without having to put them all in different variables. So we can have all of the teams. So, for example, if you're on an iPhone or Android phone, and you have a big list of items you can tap on, that's an array. When we load like all of our things, like say you have a list of your podcasts, that's an array, right? So we use arrays to store or to group similar items together into one place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it actually does. So it would kind of be like I've got a lot of friends who love playing fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably like how they're building their teams is by looking through the whole, the stacks of all the different people that they could take
Hmm.
and picking them out of an array and then creating their own teams with it, their fantasy teams with it. So
They're
that
picking
kind of
them out
does
of
make
it.
sense.
They're picking them out of several arrays and putting them into their own array. Like
Right,
the array would be called fantasy underscore team or fantasy team, however you want to write
right,
it. And that would be the name of the array. And then you could look at each player at the different positions in the array.
right. And I can't even imagine how much programming must be behind all of these things that people just play with every day. It kind of boggles my mind.
Oh, there's thousands and millions of lines. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So I hope
No,
that kind
that
of helps with how that works.
it actually did, yeah. And I did not realize that there was a difference between JavaScript and Java.
Mhm.
And I know that there are a couple of people in here too that are working on some, like I think there was a question in the WhatsApp about Python and everything. And I've read a couple of things where people had said that Python is easier or more user friendly compared to JavaScript. Would you agree that I should just continue to go through Free Code Camp as it's presented? Because I've kind of taken it on face value that
So
go through it in order.
you're kind of on the path already of free code camp. I would keep going through it.
Okay.
Python is easier in a way, but more difficult in a way because Python is based on readability, and a lot of it is based on indentation. You need to make sure you have a good environment for Python and things like that, which is takes a little bit more to get started with. It is a great language to learn, though. But I will tell you, once you learn one language really well, it's easier to take the skills that you learn in a language and transfer it to another language.
Okay. I can believe that.
Yep. Python is one of my favorite languages because Python inherently is really good for data sciences and AI and machine learning. So it's a very interesting language. So it also depends on what you're trying to do. Like if you want to do things on a web page, JavaScript is the way you have to go. But if you want to do things that are not just web based, Python is very interesting to learn.
Okay. No, that does make a lot of sense. If you're dealing with things like just a little bit of personal background information, I'm a very long-term type 1 diabetic,
Hmm.
and I've dealt with people who have, and I've been in the diabetes community for a long time, and I've met a lot of people who have created their own loops for their insulin pumps so that they could get their continuous glucose monitors
Hmm.
to talk to their insulin pumps and apparently deliver insulin, using an algorithm. What kinds of programming language? And I know that they talk a lot about open source, but what language is that primarily done in?
Oh, I have no clue. That is interesting. I didn't know people were doing that.
Oh yeah, it's called looping.
Are you familiar with this, Jeff? I wonder if Jeff is still here.
I'm muted. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Jackie was talking about people that are using, you said looping, they're using programming to take data from their CGM and send it to their insulin pump. I thought
Yes.
that had to be something that the manufacturers did.
No, there are a lot of people who've been doing well, basically since CGMs came on the market and they've become so reliable, there are a lot of people who are doing like do-it-yourself loops.
Oh,
That is
interesting.
interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard about that. I was wondering if you had.
I'm aware of this. I don't have a lot of data on it. I know that there's probably documentation on what APIs are available for each pump, and ways of interfacing to it. People have probably written third-party tools to do it. Um, I think we need to be a little cautious here because it's a medical
Absolutely.
device.
Yes. No,
Right.
absolutely.
So I would caution us to be careful about going down this path too far. But
I just find it neat that people have been able to do it. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
the
And
question was, do you have an idea of what programming language they would be using to do that? Would it be JavaScript or Python? I don't
Uh
know. I don't know where that would
I
run
think it's
at.
I think it's oh it had to be client somehow.
Hmm.
It would have to be through some sort of a over-the-air protocol because I mean these things are
Hmm.
not you're not going to connect one of these, via USB-C or something, more
Right.
than likely. So there's probably some Bluetooth protocol or something going on there. But I mean we'd have
Wonder if it
to
would have to be a mobile app that did it. That's
maybe,
interesting.
yeah, we'd have to research it. Uh
Yeah,
but
that's interesting though.
yeah.
yeah. And again, I'm not saying but I'm just curious about it because it's kind of I do use a commercially available insulin pump, and I have a hybrid closed loop system, and to me it's just interesting. I would be interested to know what kinds of education I would need in order to get involved in that field.
Yeah, that's something we haven't really looked into, but it's very interesting, very intriguing.
Yeah, I know, and I know, like, for and I can understand again, we're mostly dealing with people with visual impairments here. So I know that, same thing like the meta glasses, like what is that all being run on? Like where is, what is the programming that's controlling a lot of that interface?
A lot of that's Python. A lot because
Okay.
a lot of AI is built with Python just because of how well it works with machine learning and that kind of thing. Um, Now, of course, the web version of that, like the website, is using JavaScript to do the what you see on the screen, and then it sends it all and probably uses Python to work with the AI.
Okay.
See, the,
Because
the cool thing is a lot of programming languages can talk to each other through the use of APIs, and APIs are where you expose different triggers to um, uh, other actions based on if you go to a web URL.
so is there no problem with like kinds of, I guess the only word I could think of there would be transcription, like when you're going from moving from one language into trying to get something written in one language to work in an environment where another language is predominant.
Great question. So we kind of now have we have two universal languages that can be interoperable between programming languages. So, say I have the website written in JavaScript and the backend is written in Python. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, they may talk by using the API that we talked about, and the response that would be generated through what's called JSON, JSON. It stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And pretty much every programming language has a way to understand and do something with parsed JSON.
Hmm.
And you'll probably learn about that in FreeCodeCamp. But JSON is it's one of the ways that computers can talk to each other. XML is another way, and there's different flavors of XML. Um, but XML is longer. It's written to be human readable, but also be able to, talk to the computer. The issue with XML, again, is that it's longer, it takes up more characters, and takes longer to send, depending on the amount that you're sending. So JSON has become the primary mechanism for sending data between websites and backend uh, processes.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense because again, in a previous life, I did a come from an AutoCAD background. And at one point in my career, I spent a lot of time debugging files that had to be transformed into a readable language for wherever
Mhm.
we were sending the file.
Right,
And that sometimes really did weird things. So I was just
right,
kind of curious if they've worked. It sounds like JSON worked out a lot of those bugs possibly
right,
for things available on the web.
right.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you taking the time to answer those
Absolutely,
nagging little
anytime.
questions I have.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Laura, I'm working through the steps. I really appreciate having this group
That's
meeting every week.
that's awesome though, Jackie. Like you're kicking butt.
I don't know about that, but
Oh,
Oh,
you're kicking butt, and I'm super proud of you. Like,
oh yeah.
guys, for those of you who are not anywhere near this far along on the journey and who are just getting started, listen to Jackie talk and have hope. Like, if you really want to learn this and you really devote the time and energy to get after it and learn, this could be you someday.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
could be
and
you.
the thing that I'll tell you is programming is less about learning um, each way to do things with code. It's learning how to solve a problem and coming up with the solution to a problem. There's not any one way to solve any programming problem. It's up to you to come up with a creative and expressive way that you feel that you can solve the problem. There are best practices, there are ways that are efficient more so than others, but there's never one true way to solve any problem with code. For example, I can write an app for iPhone in Swift, which is Apple's programming language, or I can use React Native, which is a way to do it in JavaScript.
Hmm.
There's not a wrong way. There's just what works best for you.
This is Melissa. Can I share for a second?
Sure.
Um, so what really helped me, and maybe if anybody is a proficient Braille reader, it may help you as well, because I was having a lot of trouble trying to envision how this is supposed to look on the page. Um, and so it helped me to use the Braille display to really get the visual picture of the syntax and all that. So it helped a lot in studying with the bits class and with this class and the classes I'm taking with Michael. So it's helped me tremendously. So if you are a Braille reader, I encourage you, especially if you're a quote visual learner like I am, if you need to see it, then that's going to be hopefully your best avenue to get what you need and be able to move forward without feeling very confused.
Absolutely. Braille does help a lot, especially like with Python, because it
Hmm.
helps you with your indentation to know how many
That's right.
spaces that you've.
That's right. And I was having so much trouble with that. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And Laurel had actually suggested, well, I asked her if she thought that would help, and she said, yeah, for sure. And a couple of other Braille users that have done programming said the same. So it's made a huge difference in my
Oh my gosh, I'm
learning
so
and
glad this
growing.
helped.
Yes, yes.
So glad.
Melissa, I'm just curious. Have you always known how to code?
No,
Or are you like learning how to, are
this
you
is all
teaching
new to
yourself
me.
Python?
I'm teaching, well, Michael's kind of teaching me. We're kind of going through that class with him. And, I've just been trying to do some of the steps that, and, watch the videos that he provided and, um, come to class when we have it, if I remember, which is sometimes iffy, but,
Now I can understand that.
mhm.
Well, my hats are off to you because I could not. And I mean, again, I'm so, when I think about the fact that people who have such, who have, who are unable to see things visually are able to code. And I get so lost. I mean, if there's more than, say, 30 lines of code,
Mhm.
I get a little bit lost. So my hat's off to you, Melissa. Like, wow, you, Michael, everybody who's in here doing this. That's really impressive.
Mhm.
Another tip that I have is, and this is going to make a lot of people happy, I think. If you feel that a file is getting to be too big and that you can't understand what's going on, then guess what? It probably is.
Yeah.
In every programming language, there is ways to segment your code into multiple files.
Hmm.
So you could create a file that describes what it's supposed to do, and then just include those files in the rest of your code. I think there's a way you could even do that with HTML. So you could have one HTML file that loads other HTML files. You may have to do that with JavaScript, but there are ways to do that. So if you feel like your file is getting too large or has too many lines, I mean, if you needed to, you could create a file for each individual function if you needed to make it easier to understand and comprehend. That is okay. It is your code.
Hmm. I find it helpful to, like you said, break it up sometimes, and sometimes I'll
Mhm.
put stuff in, Notepad or whatever, and then copy it over, like make different files and then copy it into a bigger piece of code, that I need to um, put where I need it to be. So,
Fantastic.
yeah. I guess the thing really is, even at times when it was frustrating at the beginning, is just stick with it and find what works best for you.
Guess one of my questions too is like, I'm looking now at the next lesson that I'm working my way through. And a lot of the thing, like, is there a, like right now I'm on step 28 and it's not, like it's just not making a lot of sense to me because it's talking about, using a push return and the new push variable and log it. And I'm looking at this and I'm looking at what it's building on, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really fully understanding what it's asking me to do.
So can you read the instructions?
Yeah, sure.
Can you tell me what it's wanting you to do?
Yeah, like right now I'm in the JavaScript script algorithms and data structures, and it's step 28.
Hmm.
And it step 28 says, you should have seen free code cam parentheses, free code cam printed to the console. That was because dot pop, open parentheses, close parentheses, returns the value that was removed from the array, and you pushed parentheses, free code camp to the end of the array earlier.
Right.
But what does dot push, open close parentheses, return? Assign your existing rows dot push, open close parentheses, to the new pushed variable and log it.
Oh wow. I have to work through this just to, um
If you want, I can copy it into the chat so that you could, you know,
so push so I know pop will remove, I believe, the last item in the array.
right.
Uh from my understanding.
I think you're right.
I don't use a lot of these commands often. So let me actually do a little bit of research and I'll come back in.
Yeah, I heard what you said. I'm like, yeah, I gotta work through it also. So I was like,
Yeah.
So basically, push. You do the array that you want to work on, and you do dot push, and then the variables or items that you want to add to the end of the array. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And you can push more than one item to the end of your array. Does that make sense?
Yes, in a way. I mean, it's it's kind of confusing because I get that I'm getting a little bit confused because I could see where I've got a variable and then I've got a
Hmm.
variable dot the command, which is push or like in the previous thing, the pop returns the last value. Okay.
Right.
Like where do they come up with these names like push and pop? Like how would pop? Whoever thought that pop means return the last the last part of an array?
So it doesn't just return; it pops it off. It kind of just like
Okay,
kind
that makes
of
sense. That helps me.
yeah, it just pops it off. And push is kind of like you're pushing more on, right? Some people were thought they were being creative when they came up with these things.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
I mean, like other languages use like the word add to add things on the end, right? So does that kind of help with what they're saying?
Yeah, a little bit.
And I think on our Techopolis platform, we're going to do a basics of Python probably middle of this year. That'll be an ongoing course. So I'm excited about that.
Yay. Jackie, you could put the thing in Chat GPT or
Yep, you
Copilot
could.
and get a detailed explanation of, what you what you're trying to get all the information for, the pop and the push and etc.
You could probably
I-
put the whole set of
You
instructions
can.
in Chat GPT and have it instead of having it do it for you, you could tell it to
To explain it.
explain this.
Explain it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's what I do if I don't understand something. I'll have it explain it and then it makes
Yep.
sense. And then I can say, oh, okay, this is how you do it. Okay, that makes. So I'll put the instructions and tell them exactly where I'm at in free code camp and, you know, um, and it'll give you the explanation for why you do it the way you do it.
Okay, I think I'm going to try that because now when you ask it to do that, do you usually just add all of the all of the code or usually just the code that they're leaving open?
Usually just the code that they're leaving open just so I can
Okay.
see what I need to do in the step. And if it's not detailed enough, I just say, I need more explanation because,
Explanation.
yeah. So, Michael, you did a great job teaching last night, by the way.
thank you. I appreciate it.
That made a lot of sense the way you explained everything. It was really good.
Yeah, we went through a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said last night, I could have spent, 6 or 8 hours on that same topic.
Mm-hmm. I like the fact that you brought up the fact that we need multiple browsers to test things on because, sometimes things do not read the same in Edge as they do in Chrome and Safari. I mean,
Right.
all that. I mean, sometimes it does make a difference. And especially in terms of accessibility stuff.
Exactly. It's very important to try different things. And sometimes between Mac and Windows can be totally different too. So,
Yes,
Oh yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's like Windows. I usually use Chrome for the most part, unless
Mhm.
something just acts crazy. But um, the Mac is sometimes reads totally different, and I'm like, whoa, wait, I never saw that before.
Right.
Let's see. But yeah, I mean, this all makes sense, from, like if you're not familiar, though, we had the bits class last night. So that's what we're all talking about. Any more questions? Are you done with that, Melissa? Do you have anything else to say?
Oh no, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Michael, do you have any other things you want to add?
Well, I will say that one thing with this is there are things, no matter how skilled you get at programming, that you will get stuck, and you'll think, well, I can't figure this out, I'm terrible. We all go through that. Like, I mean, I code uh, for Techopolis. I teach programming, right? There are things that I don't even fully understand, but there is somebody out there who has, and don't for 1 minute think that they aren't interested in helping, because they are. Because guess what, guys? They've been there. They've been where you are. They understand, because this stuff is not always easy. And some
No.
things are hard to figure out. Programmers inherently are not, they don't try to hold other people down. And so most developers and most programmers, if you say, hey, I'm having trouble figuring out lists, you know, most of the time they're going to want to help, because they've been there. They totally understand. I mean, you're going to get some people in every community that are just not the best to deal with. But most of the time, most programmers will say, yeah, if you do this thing or that thing, um, it's amazing. Whenever uh, I started to learn to code, it was difficult because there was not as much support. There wasn't the internet. And I mean, there was, but it was just starting out, right? And so we have so many resources now. So don't think that you can't learn it, or don't think that you can't find somebody else that can help you. I mean, after all, you're here, right? So there's so many good resources, and just programming is one of those. It's an art. It's an art that anybody can pick up and do, because you don't have to have dexterity. You don't have to be good with music. You could just be good with the keyboard or good at dictation and make whatever you want come to life. And I will tell you, there are languages that are harder than others. But if you're determined enough, you'll figure them out. I had a hard, whenever I started building for iPhone back in 2011, it was difficult. It was hard to learn. They used a language called Objective C, which was a very difficult language to figure out. It was, most high level languages are very English uh, like, but this was not. And it was hard to figure out.
Didn't they use something called Xcode for a while too? Something like that?
I still do.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they still do because of the Swift, but uh, you
Yep.
know.
You write Swift and build
Uh,
it in your apps with Xcode. Yep.
mhm. Okay. Mm. I'm gonna get there. I have the Swift, that's in my bundle too. So I just haven't started on that one yet.
Yeah, it's really cool to see people signing up
Mhm.
for our all access. It's a really cool platform.
Mhm. You got good teachers on board, and that's helpful.
We try. And we try to make it fun as well.
Yes.
And I threw the link to the promo code and where you can sign up in the description. I'm sorry, that's the description. The chat,
The
whatever it's
chat.
called.
Yeah.
It's in the description on YouTube, but yeah, the chat. But yeah, I'm just like, you know.
So, how many apps have you guys created with, iOS for iOS? A lot?
Over 10, maybe nearly 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
I kind of lost count. The latest one that I published is called Perspective Meetings. It's a meetings app, and what it lets you do is store all of those reoccurring meetings that you can never figure out a good place to keep.
Oh, yeah, I remember you talking about that. Yes.
Hmm. It's a free app, so it syncs them through iCloud, so it sends them to your Mac, your iPhone, your iPad, and
Hmm.
Vision Pro now. So
Oh, cool.
we've got a few more in the works too.
Good deal. Taylor, what's the app that you put the most of your heart into?
So I mean, I do apps, but not really. Like, I've only made one that's successful. Um, but really, I do more of the web stuff. Like, we just made an internal tool for doing accessibility testing and other project management tasks for the company. So I
Yeah.
just like made that completely by myself, you know, with Python. Um, and it's on the web. And the thing is, I designed it myself. I had AI help me, but like, Michael can say that, like, the front page looks awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah.
She
Cool.
also made a really cool app for iPhone called Current City. She rewrote one of my apps, and it looks amazing. And what it does is it's kind of a one of the things that happens is when you're traveling. Sometimes you just want to, like when you're on the bus, you just want to know what city you're going in, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Because maybe you're getting close to your destination, but when taking like a bus ride, and you're like, I need to be on the lookout for when I get to this point so I can contact my family,
Hmm.
right? So I made this app called Current City, and it shows a widget and in the app what city you're going through in real time. And so Taylor rewrote it to be more visual, well, just up to date,
Yeah.
and made it look amazing. And yeah, it works really well.
Cool. Mhm.
I'm going to be working on an app in the next week or so. I'm a huge fan of Mastodon, and one of the things that I would like to do is be able to have a widget on my iOS home screen of my account's stats. So like how many posts I've posted, how many followers, and how many people follow me from my home screen. And I think that can be done. So we're gonna do it. Well, me and AI are gonna do it. Another thing too, that I'll explain is there's a concept um, called vibe coding. And vibe coding is a new fad where people let AI write all of the code for the thing they're trying to create. Vibe coding is not a good idea because AI can make some cool stuff now, but it's not perfect and it has bugs. So
Hmm.
I believe more in what's called partner coding, where you and AI work together to build something great. And um, I saw in a podcast somebody said AI can get you about 80% there, but the human developer has to do the hard part in getting it the rest of the way there.
Hmm. Well, and a lot of times with AI, it's how you word things, because if you don't word it just
Right.
exactly right, it's going to give you erroneous information. I noticed that even with checking some things out for free code camp. And I was like, no, you're wrong. And it said, oh, I'm sorry. And then so I explained it different and then it got it right. So, sometimes it is wording, just like with your Alexa devices, et cetera. If you don't word things exactly right,
Right.
yeah. Jackie, are you having any luck over there?
I I am a little bit stumped. It's just not, I'm missing a concept someplace.
Hmm.
Let me go look at that.
Yeah, because
Just give me a few
I'm not
minutes.
as
I can
far
look it
along as
through.
you are, so but Michael and Taylor and Laurel should.
Yeah, let me go work it through real quick. I know, Michael, did you get new over there, or do you want me to do it?
If you can, Taylor, that'd be great.
Yeah, because I know you're doing something else. So
Thank you for taking it on and working that through. Guys, I'm typically not this quiet, but I'm wearing about 3 different hats today, so I apologize for that, and I'm a little sleep deprived. So
It's
thank you,
okay.
fearless leader, for hey, I mean, you know what? It's always important to acknowledge, like, when you're leading something or you're like the leader of a project or a foundation or whatever, like, there's never, like, people think it's weak to admit that you're not on the top of your game today and you're relying on some help, but that's not weak, that's just reality. So thanks, Michael, Taylor, and Jeff, and everybody for, like, taking over and being understanding today that I am not quite on point like I normally am. You guys are doing great. I am here. I'm just a little bit multitasking. But anyway, keep going, Taylor, fearless leader. I just wanted to chime in and say thanks. And make sure everybody knew I wasn't just ghosting.
And so people know on YouTube, Taylor is working through a area in FreeCodeCamp, and we will be back with an explanation shortly.
I worked through it, I got it correct, and then in the code, I threw a whole bunch of notes in there so that you could understand how to do it correctly. So that has been put in the chat. So yeah, that is that. It did work on my end. So
Is that in the Zoom chat or is that on the
yes,
YouTube chat?
YouTube. I'm sorry, Zoom chat, not YouTube. We're in Zoom. Did you get it? Because it sent the message.
Now I haven't seen it so far.
Let me resend if I need to. It was a quite long message.
Thank you, Taylor.
Maybe Zoom send it. Mm, me. Oh, let's see. Oh, I had a limit of 1,000 characters. Shoot. Okay, let me here. Come on, Zoom. All right, just give me a second. Because it's not sending it. So here's a solution. And then I'm going to try to paste in the notes somewhere. So hopefully that helped. I'll try to figure out how to get the rest of this in here. So that is that. Let me. Okay, so let's see. I now have the notes. There you go. Okay, so everything is in the chat, Jackie, including the solution and the notes stuff.
Thank you.
So hopefully that helps.
I'm trying to read through it now.
Awesome. Okay. So because it's so long, I can't really, it's gonna be impractical to like read it through, but yeah, so we just worked through that solution. I might try to throw it in the YouTube description after this is over. So that's that. Yeah. Any questions, Michael? Do you have anything to say? Let's see. Any questions from anybody else?
I don't know if there's another way to do this, but if you happen to be on your phone while you're doing Zoom, all the code that she just put up there, I just took screenshots and I'm going to put in Picture Smart and get all the text out of it.
I'm not sure there's a better way to do it. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but I figured that would be one way to capture what you just, sent over. So,
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to. I think once we get our list sorted out, it'll
mhm.
be easier because I could just throw the chat transcript in the
That would be
email list.
awesome. That would be so cool.
But we don't have the email list, so hopefully Jeff and them can figure that out,
Hmm.
and hopefully we'll have it by next week. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yes, that is something that we are going to work on for
Mm.
sure. Because that way we could just send the transcript over with all the code,
Hmm.
all my stuff
Hmm.
in.
And everybody else's too, because that way we
Right.
get her question, your answer, you know.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Um, yeah. So that's definitely, something we're gonna work on in the coming weeks to come.
I just
Um,
figured this was a workaround for the time being.
for now, yeah, for now. It's a good workaround for now. Any other questions or comments? Yeah, I think that, one thing that will happen, like I said, the mailing list, and that way you guys can like stay up to date about like the YouTube streams and the comments, from the chat and everything. So we'll work on that sooner than later. But I think that that's a good workaround until we have that sorted. Any other questions?
Hey Taylor, one thing I thought about, I don't know if it's been addressed yet. I've been trying to pay attention as much as I can, but I can't swear I've missed it. Do we want to touch really quickly on what we were talking about Friday evening in regards to Free Code Camp's newer, like how they're restructuring their curriculum versus their legacy curriculum, maybe?
We could talk about that.
Is that worth
Yeah,
touching
'cause
on? Because I know that even people who may want to stick with the old legacy curriculum, and by the way, guys, that stuff's still just fine. They may have seen the new website structure and people may be confused about what's really going on there. So it might be helpful to touch on like what's happening there and which curriculum or which process of learning might be best suited for which audience, maybe. What do you
yes.
think?
We could talk about that real quick. So Laurel and I and Michael had a meeting this Friday, not to talk about that, but that just came up. And Free Code Camp, as you guys know, is switching to a new curriculum. So their legacy curriculum is what you guys are going through right now. So there's a new curriculum. It's called the Certified Full Stack Developer. And what that means, full stack, for those who don't know, is a concept. So when you're developing applications, you have the front end, which is like your design, your functionality, your visual appeal, things like that. And then your back end, which is like, the database, the server, et cetera, et cetera. The thing is with the full stack is that it's still in beta, so not all of it's developed, and it's going to be coming over the coming weeks and months and whatever to come. But a lot of it is done. And the other thing too is that all of your progress from the legacy is converted into the full stack and it's saved. So basically, when you did all the challenges, your progress is not going to be lost. And the other thing too is, depending on your learning style. So some people prefer videos, like on YouTube, rather than just reading a bunch of text. So if that's you, I recommend the full stack because it actually has whole video lectures going into everything and they are very much described in things. So that's definitely something I recommend for that audience. But if you don't really want to do the videos and you're just wanting to learn HTML, CSS, and maybe some JavaScript, you can stick to what you're doing, right? But this is just another option for those who may want different learning modalities. There's also going to be like a final exam and you'll actually have a like certificate that you can throw on your LinkedIn or other places. You will with the other curriculum, but this one will be more comprehensive. So what I've told Laurel and everybody else is that let's say you want to make a career out of coding, I recommend going to the full stack path because that will have everything, so that you can get a career in coding without having to go to multiple places. So does that, Laurel, do you have any other things to add to that?
No, that's really all I had. I just thought maybe since they have sort of designed the layout of their main curriculum webpage and maybe restructured a few things, it might be helpful so that nobody is confused, to spend a couple of minutes and just overview what's really going on there. I just thought it might help some people to decide. And like Taylor said, it will save your progress if you want to go from the old style to the new. I just thought it might be helpful for people to make the most informed decision about how they want to continue learning and what the options are now currently.
Yeah, actually, I just noticed something in the curriculum. Like under archive to coursework, it's got one called the second in is JavaScript algorithms and data structures certification, which is what I'm fumbling through right now. But then if you scroll to the bottom, it says legacy JavaScript algorithm and data structure certification. So are they the same
Oh,
thing?
so let me explain. Hold on just a second. So the hold on just a second. I'm grabbing something. The legacy versus archived. So the way that that works is the legacy is older, like, very old, like their first iteration of curriculum. Okay. So it's pretty out of date. And then their archive is the stuff that we've been dealing, since January, right? And that is, not out of date, but it's not their newest stuff either. And then the certified, like full stack, the beta curriculum is actually their up and coming stuff. So that's the way that that is happening.
Okay.
But all of your progress will be saved. So no matter what path you take, you won't have to start all over. Okay. So it just all depends on your personal preferences.
Should we wait until it's out of beta or?
The thing is that it always says beta because they're always changing things. What I
Oh,
will
okay.
say is that there's so much of it already done. I mean, like for example, CSS has 1100 steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Making an example.
Mm-hmm.
So you may run into barriers where it doesn't have a lot of it coming yet, but I'm sure you got to go through basic HTML. Like it's structured in a way. It has like, for example, cat photo app is
Yeah.
actually a workshop
Mm-hmm.
under one of the categories.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
There's not actually like, like they have basic HTML and then they have forms and tables. So they have it all separated.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So it
All
just
right.
all depends on what you guys want to do.
Okay.
But your progress will be saved between different iterations.
Okay.
And it is accessible. So,
Good. That is important.
and for those who need it, there's also an English for Developers curriculum. So that is something to keep in mind, folks. What path to choose. Like for you, Jack, did your videos help or do they not help for you?
Typically, no.
Yeah, and so it depends. I mean, you don't you can go through the full stack and like listen to the videos, and then you can actually get a transcript of them as well, so you can read them in text form.
Okay.
So that's something you can do.
I
The
like that
videos are
idea.
just YouTube videos.
Oh, that's what I like that idea.
Yeah, the videos are just YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not anything fancy.
Yeah. But I like
Right?
that you
So
can get a text transcript.
you can.
of
It's
it.
very
Yes.
accessible. Under each video, there's a transcript button, and you can read it.
Cool.
And then, a tip is you can throw that transcript into ChatGPT and make some basic notes, or you can make them detailed.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, it just depends on what path you guys want to take. But the most important thing is that all of your progress is saved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is important.
It's interoperable. So basically, let's say you decide to do something on the legacy or the archive, it will just go back and forth between the different curriculums.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
recommend doing that, but let's say you do for some reason.
Yeah.
How far are you, Melissa?
I'm almost ready to start the CSS one.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm not as far as she is, but I'm getting there.
I mean, it takes a little bit of commitment. You have to be kind of willing to say, okay, I'm going to devote, at least a half an hour to, depending
Mm-hmm.
on how deep you get into it, like
Exactly. Yes.
a couple hours a day to it. Otherwise, if you're not looking at it daily, it's pretty easy to forget.
Right. Exactly.
And the other thing too about the full stack is let's say you need like quizzes to reinforce your learning. The full stack has quizzes, so it'll have like a knowledge check after each video.
Oh,
So those are the changes that they have introduced. So
those are helpful for me because then if they ask me a question, I have to think about how I did it and how I would do,
yep.
it's like, so yeah, that might be a good way for me to go.
I think that might be a good way for you, Melissa. And what you do is
Mhm.
you go to the beta curriculum and it says
Mhm.
certified full stack developer. you click on that and you start it. That's how you do it.
Okay.
So let
Thank
me go
you.
through it real quick. I'll explain some things. So
All right.
when I go to, let me go to the certified curriculum. Okay. So when I go there, I'm going to recommended curriculum. And this is left paren still in beta. Okay, so under this category, certified full stack developer, learn English for developers, A2 English for developers. I'm not sure what that means, but maybe Laural does. B1 English for developers. Okay. Again, I'm not sure what those things mean, but those are available under the beta.
Mhm.
And then yeah, so and then there's like beta curriculum for preparing for code interviews. So that is how that goes. So if I click on the full stack, I'll kind of give you a quick overview. I'm not going to be too long, but let me click on this full stack. So
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I just clicked on full stack, and as I'm going through, it looks like some of these things I've already accomplished.
that's exactly right because it transfers your accomplishments, Jackie. So
Yeah.
it so let's see. For example, so you'll be able to like make full web applications by the end of this course.
Awesome.
So HTML has 193 steps as an example.
Mhm.
Okay. It's separated into basic HTML, semantic HTML, forms and tables, accessibility, and that has 26 steps on its own. And then there's a review section for your HTML test. So that's that. And then, oh, the exam is coming soon. But the thing is that it has a lot of reinforcement learning, even if some things are not here yet, because you can do the things that are. And then,
Mhm.
new stuff is added all the time.
That sounds good. Sounds like the way to go.
I really think it is.
Yeah.
And then JavaScript has 0 of 893 steps. So under JavaScript, there's code editors, variables and strings, and then Booleans and numbers, functions, arrays. So you see how it's all split out, Jackie? So like it won't be
Yeah.
probably as overwhelming because
That's cool. I like that.
this is more in the style of what's called like a coding boot camp. So, people pay thousands of dollars to these things.
Mhm.
And, they're not very good quality. Some of them are. But the thing is, you don't have to because this whole free code camp is literally like a free, boot camp for coding, but it's all free. It's all split out in a nice way you can learn. And the thing is that they have the YouTube videos so you can actually watch the lectures and, put the transcripts in ChatGPT. And the other tip I have is that there's this thing called Notebook LM from Google. It's actually this like research tool, but it can also be used for studying. It's like an AI based tool. So I throw all the YouTube links in there and then I can actually chat with them. It's free also.
Oh, wow. You
Yeah,
said
and so I
Notebook
could
LM?
yes.
Okay.
So there's a lot of resources and that way you can learn all this stuff and keep it all straight.
Mhm.
And then it can create like your own little podcasts or audio overviews. So
Yeah,
there's two AI hosts and they literally create their own podcast and then you can actually interject and you can have a talk with the AI host in the podcast.
Hmm. it just gets better and better.
Yep. Yep.
I just
But yeah,
like
I
the
honestly
reinforcement
think
learning thing because,
me too. And
you
that's
know,
why I think this is a good way to go.
yeah, because if I see a question, then I have to think about how to answer it. And,
Yep.
so it really helps a lot because then I write it down and then I remember it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Taylor.
And then it has all the front end libraries. And then like the rest of it, like the back end stuff is not here yet, but all the front end stuff is. So, I'm sure that they're gonna keep adding to this as the time goes on.
Yeah, and for that matter, like I know for myself personally, I spent a career playing in relational databases. And like for the certified full stack developer curriculum, that's still being developed. But I guess if I, not like I'm going to get all through these hundreds
Right.
of
And
challenges,
and that's what
but
they said. By the time you're ready for that, it's probably gonna be
yes.
done, is what they're saying.
So that's
Hmm.
pretty cool. So I can kind of restart and maybe start and fill in some of the blanks because even for that matter, like when I look at the HTML, so I've completed 42 of 193 steps. So
Hmm.
rather than and for that matter, the CSS, I've completed 948 of the 1155 steps completed. So maybe instead of moving on to JavaScript, maybe I'll go back and finish these up and then move on to JavaScript to see, maybe some of these theories that I didn't complete will help me with that.
There'll be the videos. There's actually whole videos like let's talk about arrays or things, and you can listen to
Okay,
them. Even if the code's not accessible, you can listen to them and you can be able to understand how it works.
cool.
Hmm. That's great.
And like the cat photo app and others are like labs. So they're not, on its own anymore.
I think it's going to
Yeah,
be a
that's pretty
much more
cool.
effective way to do it. Sounds like to me.
Yeah, and I think, because there might be people on the old curriculum, but I think, if we have enough on the new one, we might, start, like a channel on the WhatsApp for Free Code Camp, like new curriculum. I'm not sure, or we can talk about that because people might be confused if they're doing the old stuff. Um, but that way we can have time, or eventually if there's enough people doing the new one and there's half and half, we could split out and breakout rooms eventually. But
Hmm.
to study the new curriculum. But it just all depends, because the new curriculum is, it's a lot better in my opinion because it has all the other interactive elements that really make it better to learn from.
Hmm.
Well, it's kind of nice that in a lot of them they're doing that video overview so that you kind of have an idea on what you're getting ready to look at.
Yeah. Does anybody else have questions? And I think that the full stack, it definitely provides a lot more material for sure. So,
I think it's also worth mentioning for our international viewers who may not speak English as a first language or a native language. They also are offering English for developers as a second language. So if you want to learn coding and you are a developer or you want to become a developer and English is a struggle for you, you should also look into that section of the website. I just wanted to throw that out there since we have served and taught and supported people so far in the first quarter of this year, of this weekly program in a lot of different countries around the world, and we may have YouTube viewers even from a bunch of different countries. It's worth mentioning and stating that FreeCodeCamp does offer free English as a second language curriculum for developers. And so if you struggle in that area, you need to go check that out, and it's going to be a really helpful resource.
Yeah, and I mentioned that earlier, there's like the A2 or whatever, for developers. I'm not sure what all those things mean, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of English for developers. There's 2 courses on it in here, actually.
I'd be interested in knowing, you probably did mention it earlier and I just somehow missed it, but I would be very interested in knowing, like, if anyone is watching this YouTube stream now or later and has taken specifically those curricula, I would love to hear your feedback personally. So comment on the video and let us know what you thought of it.
Yeah, because I'm curious as well. And that's a new curriculum, so hopefully, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Absolutely, I've already recommended it to somebody, so we'll see. If we get any feedback on that, we'll share it with you.
Any other questions? Laurel, do you have anything else?
I do not have anything else other than let's make sure we remember to point people towards all of our resources. If you want to become a all access member of Techopolis and you live outside the United States and cannot afford the fee, you can email laurelwheelerfoundation@gmail.com. My name is spelled LaurelWheeler Foundation, which is FOUNDATION, at gmail.com, and ask for assistance there. And for those of you on Discord, Techopolis also has a Discord server. What else am I blanking on that people need to know about?
Let's see. I think you got most of it. Michael, do you have anything else that
I do not have anything that I could think of at this time. Oh, one thing I will mention is if you watch, if you are get the ACB community emails in about 23 minutes, a friend of ours, Michael Babcock, is going to be doing a presentation on the app Todoist. That's going to be kind of interesting. And then I believe it is at 2 o'clock
the next
Central.
hour?
Is it 1 or 2?
2 Central.
Okay, 2 Central.
Yeah.
I thought I saw 1, but I don't remember.
Oh, I hope not.
Taylor is doing a call on ACB community. Let's talk AI.
For those of
No.
you who didn't hear that because your audio was cutting out a little bit, Taylor will be doing a call on the ACB community platform for Let's Talk AI. Taylor, do you want to tell people how they can access that?
By the way,
Well, let's see.
Taylor, it is at 1.
Maybe it's good if we end a little early so you can be ready for that.
Let me check my schedule because it says 2.
Oh my gosh. And also,
2 Eastern, by the way.
do we want to remind people about what BITS does, and how they can learn more about that? Because I know we may not have gone in depth on that in a little bit, and we probably need to.
Sure. Jeff, are you here?
He is. He just came back.
I just came back.
Hey Jeff, will you take a couple of minutes for those who maybe were not in previous sessions that you were in or maybe hadn't heard, and will you talk a little bit about bits?
Yeah,
So
sure.
that people who may not have, because we have people all the time that join in different weeks, and so for people who may not have heard us talk about it before, let's take a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yep. BITS stands for Blind Information Technology Specialist. We're a organization over 501c3, and we focus in on technology for blind and low vision individuals. And we've been putting a major focus centered around education, similar to what you do here. We have about 800 members or so currently in the organization worldwide, all over the world, actually. Lots and lots of countries were added in the last year or two. So it's kind of fun to watch that growth happen. We have everything from a mentoring team, and we have multiple chats per week, which happen over Zoom, and anybody, you don't have to be a member to join that. Our educational programs are very rich. We've done everything from teaching blind and low vision individuals how to develop in Python. We did a fully immersive Office 365 course that was about 4 months long. And right now we're in the midst of a web accessibility course. Later this year, we'll be doing a fully immersive Google Suite course across all of the Google Suite products, Docs, Sheets, Slides, Gmail, those things. And we're looking at what's coming in 2026, but these things take a little while to plan. So we're still in that process. We also do a lot of work centered around advocacy with technical organizations such as Microsoft, Zoom, Google, and others, where we can make a difference and try to make sure that everyone can achieve whatever they're wanting to do in their lives with technology. It's really that's really what it's all about, is to try to give people an opportunity to participate in whatever they want to do in their lives with the use of technology. So it's a fun organization, very much a family oriented, very focused in on supporting one another where possible. We have a really strong team.
How would people learn about and become a member? I'm a proud member, so
yay. Yay. You can go to joinbits.org and you can click on the join link that's there, or you can simply just go to joinbits.org/join. That's joinbits.org. And that's how you can locate us. That's probably the easiest one to use
and
to find us.
How much does it cost, just so that people know?
Well, it's $20 a year for a general membership. If you're a student, then prices are a bit cheaper. If you want to get a lifetime membership, then we charge $200, which is a one-time fee, and then you never have to pay anything ever again. Some people like that, actually.
I became a lifetime member, and I'm also going to throw this out there that especially if you live outside the United States, because I know a lot of people internationally, $20 even for a year membership is a lot.
Yeah.
If you can't afford it and you would like to seek financial support, again, I want you to email laurelwheelerfoundation@gmail.com. LaurelWheeler foundation@gmail.com. And Jeff, if somebody sends me an email and needs some financial help, I will get with you and we can make that happen.
All right, we can do that. And
because
we're also willing to help too.
You've got members from all over the world, and I know you are. I just want to come alongside you and support where we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know that sometimes, depending on where you come from, that can be a barrier, and we don't want it to be. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, $20 in some countries is, a house payment.
Exactly.
So, we need to make sure that we're making things equal and equitable for everyone. We if I had my druthers, we wouldn't charge for dues.
Oh, sure, but I mean,
and we did that last year. We did that
last year. As a nonprofit founder, we know how much work. I mean, somebody's got to account for the man hours, but
Yep.
we want to,
Yep.
just like we came alongside Techopolis and said, if anyone can't afford their dues, we want to do the same thing for you. So,
Well, we did receive a grant earlier this year from Microsoft for 25,000 to help us in our efforts, mainly
that's excellent.
centered around education. And one of the things we did with that was we made a very large contribution to the community. As long as you're using our support staff, meaning that you're working with either our IT staff or our mentoring team, then they can connect to your device with unlimited RIM, so
That
remote
is
incident
awesome.
manager, and that was about a $6,000 investment for us to invest in. But we
That's
feel it's
really cool.
important to do that and to make sure that people have the technology that they need to be able to get the assistance that they require. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Mhm.
That's amazing, Jeff. That's amazing. I just wanted to take a moment and make sure that people who may not have heard about you before know.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Jeff
I
and
need to join
Taylor,
some more of your Zoom calls. I just have been, well,
No, I
as I've
get it.
said,
Everyone's busy.
I'm
Yes,
a little-
Taylor.
So,
Taylor?
That was not me, Jeff.
Oh, it wasn't you. Oh, sorry.
No.
I believe that was Jackie.
Jackie, yes.
hi guys, sorry. I just want to say I am so appreciative of this community that Laurel, you and Taylor and Jeff and Michael have created. I would actually, I'm very on the fence as far as joining Bits or Techopolis because they both seem like they're more geared for professionals already in the industry.
Bits is not.
And Bits is not.
Bits is
Okay.
not. No, we have everyone from people who have difficulty even just, turning on a computer, let alone, being a software developer or being a creator, right? So we'll meet people wherever they are. And that's what's the beauty about us, is that we meet people where they are and we support them in their journey, no matter what they're doing. So
Yeah, and if I could speak to that too, one
Please
of the
do.
things that we for Techopolis that we do is we have a little bit more bits. We're doing a lot of classes and things, but there's only a certain amount of bandwidth that we can do as a volunteer organization.
Right.
And with Techopolis we have more classes, but even then. There's not. I want to do more classes on Techopolis, but I have a full-time job and also work with Bits, and there's only so many things we can do. What our goal is to make it to where with Techopolis we have things that you may not find with Bits, and Bits has things that you won't find with Techopolis, right? So we build off each other's strengths.
And you don't have to be a professional in the industry to join
Right.
either. In fact,
Right.
most of our people are not in the industry.
yeah, most people are not
In
actually.
Techopolis.
No.
In both Bits and Techopolis, most people are
Right.
not in the industry. We're trying to get people in the industry. And also, if you listen to Taylor's YouTube or are a Bits member, you can get our platform for $25 a year.
I'm
Very
also
cool.
a member, excuse me, of Techopolis, proudly.
Yep. Laurel is on both Bits and Techopolis.
So am I.
And I want to also throw this out there as we sort of come to an end. Sorry, I have something in my throat. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Techopolis, I'm really proud to say that Techopolis is going to be the new host of the Laura Wheeler Foundation website. We are in the process of moving our website over to their server, and their team, sorry, I do not know what's wrong with my throat right now, but their team will be helping us redesign our website and make it even bigger and better and greater. So we want to thank them for their awesome support. You guys are the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think all of us working together, us as a business, Laurel, your foundation, and Bits, I think we can help build a community of people that are interested in technology and things like that. So I think we all can work together.
Absolutely, because it takes many hands to make,
Yep.
a village, It's like you can't just do
Exactly.
everything. I mean, heck, I was on the struggle bus today because I had too many things going on, was too tired, and was not functioning at capacity. And look, you guys carried the load for me today. So whether it's that or whether it's other things, we all are a community and we all support each other when and where we can.
Yep.
Does anyone else have anything?
I just want to say how much I appreciate both Bits and Techopolis. Jeff has made a huge difference in Bits. I was not interested in joining before he became president, and everybody that he's brought on board to help him. And we've all become a team, and we work together to help, like he said, everybody, even people who don't even know how to create a folder or, simple things. Everybody is welcome, and everybody, like he said, is a family. And Techopolis, I just found out not too long ago. So, but it's been a great experience with both and learning lots of stuff. So,
Absolutely. So if you guys are not part of the family, come join it and come learn about the work that the Laura Wheeler Foundation does too. Come join the team.
We can't hear your dog, Jackie.
no, we can't hear it.
So she
Zoom's-
commented in the chat, apologies for the howling dog in the background, and I just went, aw, doggy.
Zoom is totally filtering it out. So,
Yeah.
Okay, very good, because I use a headset to try to avoid that, but
I gotta
she,
ask the fun question that's probably on everyone's mind. What kind of dog?
she is a terrier mix.
Ah,
Yeah, she's a scruffy little wire-haired cane terrier.
aw, that's awesome. Does anyone else have any thoughts or questions or anything?
Just taking a moment to say thank you for all of you for putting your hearts and soul into this. I've been observing this community for a while, even following lessons in free code camp. And usually, in my experience, when communities like this get together, only a few last as long as this community has. And I wish the strength to all of you guys to continue this, and hopefully we'll be able to bring this to more Asian countries and regions where people with disabilities are seen as objects of charity still, while there's a lot of potential out there. So thank you. Just wanted to say that.
I would absolutely love to talk to you about how we can make all of that happen, and even maybe how we can make some of this training available in different Asian languages. So send me a message later, and at some point in the next couple days, I'll get back to you, and I'd love to set up a time when we could talk about that.
Brilliant. We'll do that. Let's do it.
Let's do it, because I've been thinking about that lately, and yeah, let's make it happen. I'm all about it. I'm all about serving in as many countries as I can, as many people as I can. For those who don't know, I speak different languages. I don't speak any Asian languages very well or anything, but I'm a linguist, and so one of my sort of how we started the Laural Wheeler Foundation was by doing international relief work in Eastern Europe, in Eurasia, sending supplies through partners to places like Uganda and Vietnam, and taking stuff to Peru. So all over the world. And so one of my passions and objectives for the foundation is to expand the operational area that we serve with technology, literally physical technology, and then also training and resources and information and help. Especially one of my dreams is going to be, once we build out our new website, I would like to have volunteers help me translate it into multiple languages so that we can provide support to those who may not feel comfortable getting that support in English. Anyway, so I'm hugely passionate about expanding our area of operation and our reach. So let's make sure we definitely talk about expanding the training and the services that we provide into Asia, and even maybe providing help to Techopolis and Bits and doing the same if we can ever help you guys. I mean, the possibilities are really endless, but let's talk about it later this week.
Sure, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Taylor, did you ever figure out if you are teaching or speaking at 1 or at 2 Central?
So they did move. So we had to move my call. I forgot. So it is at 1 Central, but the Todoist call is at 12 Central. So that's fine. I was worried that I was gonna overlap with the Todoist call. So that's fine. We did have to move it. I forgot because I talked to Michael, and that'd be better for
Did you
engagement.
ever figure out, I don't know if you said how people who may be interested can listen to that?
I'm trying to think. I think you can email community@acb.org, and
But
they can
I
get
believe you
you
could also go to acb.community. That's what Michael
yes,
Babcock has said. Yeah.
yeah,
I
you
just wanted
can.
to, if we knew, I just wanted to make sure that people who might be interested in hearing you talk about AI, because you're super passionate about that. I mean, so am I, but I just wanted to make sure
Yeah,
that interested people knew how to gain access to that if they wanted to.
and today we're talking about AI wearables. Usually, how the show works is I talk about a topic, but it's really a discussion based, so people can, ask questions.
So acb.community is where you should be able to go to get the schedule.
Yep.
Any
Unless
chance it's on the ACB radio? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I
Is it
don't
gonna
think
be?
my stream is streamed. Unfortunately, I'm conflicting with another one. I'm trying to figure out how to get that
Gotcha.
working.
Okay. Okay, so acb.community, if you guys want to check that out at 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific Time, middle of the night for you in Asia. If you
Sorry.
guys want to check that out, that's where you go.
I think that's 11 Pacific, isn't it?
Oh, you're right, 11 Pacific. Oh my gosh,
11
I'm
Pacific, 2
so
Eastern,
tired.
1
I never
Central,
make that
12
mistake, and I
Mountain.
made it today. Oh my gosh.
No worries.
Well, I
All
know it's
right.
almost noon, and so as we come to a close, I want to make sure Taylor gets time to eat and get ready for her call. And I need
I'm
to
gonna
go
be
get
listening to
ready.
Michael's call beforehand, but
There you
yeah.
go. I need to get
Mike,
ready for something else too, and Michael needs to be able to get ready for his. So
well,
I want to thank.
I'm not doing a call. That's Michael Babcock who will
Oh,
be
oh,
doing a
got
call.
it. The other
And
Michael.
yeah, the other Michael,
We need
he's
to
really
have him on
good,
sometime to talk. But
and he has very good topics. So he's going to be talking about Todoist at in about 4 minutes. So
perfect. Well, everyone, I hope that we see you again next Tuesday, and I want to thank everyone for coming, and I especially want to thank Michael and Taylor and Jeff for helping carry the load today, because for those who may have missed it, I got an hour and a half of sleep last night and I was not functioning at capacity this morning. So I really appreciate the hand. Normally I'm a little more on point. You know, we all have our great days and some struggle days, so I want to thank them especially. They have made time out of their schedules to come every week, and it's a huge blessing to me and to our entire community, I know, but I'm especially thankful for you today. And unless anyone has anything else, I will see everyone next Tuesday.